Let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. And today's really all about just how do we really use AI in a way to help our marketing. You know, the session that we did back in October was very much about theory and how do we get AI to work for our business. And we touched a little bit on use cases, but really what I want to do today is dig on use cases so you can start thinking about ways that you can leverage AI in your business, and then point you to some resources that I think will help you as you start thinking about how to get AI going in your business. Just a quick recap on some of the things that we covered in the October session. Number one, you know, I hear from a lot of B2B marketers that they're struggling to get good outputs or good things from AI. They're not able to, you know, they get like general content or things that just don't feel like their business and their brand. And one of the things that I really tried to make a point of in the webinar back in October was that it's important that we think about AI, these tools like ChatGPT or Claude or any of the tools that we might work with, that they're really a raw material. And so, you know, I think in our business, we kind of expect, especially because we have really amazing marketing automation tools and CRM tools these days, that we can just click buttons and get really good outputs. But what helps me is when I think of AI like wood or like Legos. Like, you know, if I want to get a piece of furniture out of wood, I can't just go up to the wood and say, you know, become a desk or become a chair. You know, I've got to come at that raw material with some skills and some understanding and some other tools that are going to really help me fashion that raw material into something that's useful. And so think about AI that way. It's really, really intelligent, but at the same time, it's kind of dumb because we have to really hone it and fashion it into the thing that we're looking for. Another way to think about AI is it's like a tool. And when I say this, and I do mention this a lot in social media, the tool that comes to mind for me is it's like a chainsaw. You know, a chainsaw is a very powerful, useful tool, and I can certainly do a lot of good things with a chainsaw. In fact, when I'm working around the house, it's one of my favorite, or outside, not in the house, it's one of my favorite tools to play with, right? We have a lot of trees in our backyard, and I love getting my chainsaw out. But I would never give a chainsaw to a child, right? You would not just expect that tool to be able to go do something useful if it weren't in the hands of professionals, and so, or people that really know how to use the tool. And that should make you feel good as a marketer too, because I don't believe that AI is going to replace marketers. Just like any tool that we use in our toolkits today aren't going to replace us. They still need skilled professionals behind the scenes, really wielding the tool, if you will, to get the results and the outcome that we're looking for. And that ties right into the next point under in the general section of the agenda here. The next point is to really get the most out of AI, we need three things. It's like a three-legged stool. We need to find the right tools for our business. And I do say tools plural because I don't think there's any one tool that's going to do everything that we want. That's one thing, right? But we also need to have skilled people that know how to use the tools. And then the third leg of the stool, and I talked a lot about this in the webinar, is we need to have the right systems, the right processes, the prompts that are going to help us organizationally get the most out of the tools. And so when we think of it as a thing versus three things, then we're going to be challenged. But when we realize, hey, we've got this tool, I need to get my team trained, I need to really point it in a direction that's going to be helpful for my business, and then I need to somehow document and get my methods and best practices in a place where the whole organization can benefit from those things, so that we're not having to, reinvent the wheel every single time we go try to have a session with AI. That's what we're finding is working the best. And so in terms of getting started, and I'm guessing most of you guys that are here today have started to play with the tools, but I do get a lot of questions about where do I get started? What's the best thing that I can do? And as a leader, I would just recommend, picking a tool. If you haven't gotten ChatGPT Plus and paying for the premium version over there, I would highly recommend that you do that. And then just invite that tool to everything that you do in the day-to-day world that you live in, and really try to find all the friction points and all the things that are hard to do in your business that you think, this is something that AI might be able to do. And so that's going to help you really begin to understand, what tools are available, what is it that they do, how do you use them, and really importantly, how do they use your data? Because what we don't want to be doing is putting anything in these open generative AI tools that you wouldn't want to share in a sales call or something like that. So no secret sauce, if you will, do you want to really put out there into these AI tools, because your data is not it's not private. And so that's just kind of a quick recap on the things that we covered in the last webinar. Like I said, there's access to the replay down in the resource section in this agenda. You can check that out. Next on the agenda, if you guys, those of you that attended the webinar, had an opportunity to schedule a planning session with me where we could apply the concepts that we shared in the webinar specifically to your business. And man, I have had so many meetings with you guys. I can see even some of you folks on the call today just talking about AI in your business. And I wanted to just kind of quickly share some of the key things that I've learned in literally talking with probably 20 or 30 of you guys, is these key points. And I'm going to try to cover as many of these today during the session as possible. The first one was selecting the right tool to produce quality content. So a lot of people had questions or concerns around that. Number two, training the training with and prompt engineering to really get good outputs. So, there's a lot to that, and people needed some help just thinking about, what are the right frameworks and things I need to say to ChatGPT or any of the AI tools to get the outputs. And I've got some great resources I'll point you to on that in a second. The next bullet down was, what are some solutions for repurposing content? I think most of the people that I talk to are doing a good job of content marketing. And what they want to do is get either complete topical coverage or to really get persona-centric content. And so I'm going to walk you through some ways to do that in use cases today. The next bullet down was just private AI tools. So there's a lot of folks that want to use AI, but they really don't want to put their company secret sauce in there. And so how do you deal with that? I've got something to share with you on that. And then finally, just guidance and just what are the ways that I can train or educate my team or create some guardrails in terms of what my team can and can't do when it comes to AI. And so I'm going to point you to some places that we can help you with that. As well, too, some great free resources. So anyways, that's kind of what I've heard since October. One thing that I also shared in the webinar, and I just really encourage us to think about this and to use our community, the Demand Gen Jammers community, as a way of staying connected. And what I shared was, hey, I'm learning this stuff as fast as you guys are. I am not an expert in the world of AI. I'm using it every day. I'm working really hard with my team to enable AI into everything that we do so that we can pass that value on to our customers. But beware of anybody that says that they're an expert in AI, because if we fast forward a year from now, guys, I promise you the stuff we're seeing today is going to look really antiquated. So let's work together to stay on top of this incredible tool that I think will have a big impact on our business. I've been doing digital marketing in the B2B world for 23 years. I got into digital marketing because the internet happened. And as a B2B sales guy 23 plus years ago, I saw the internet was going to absolutely revolutionize B2B. You would be amazed 23 years ago when I tell that to B2B CEOs, they didn't believe me. But man, we've seen what it's done to B2B in the last 23 years or so. I do believe AI is going to be as transformative, if not more. And so we just need to work together to stay on top of this. And I think our community is a great place to do that. Next bullet down on the agenda. A lot of questions when I was meeting with folks and these follow-up meetings from the webinar, they wanted to know what I'm using every day. So I just thought I would share with you what are the tools that I use every single day in AI. We use a lot of tools, and I'm going to point you to some vetted tools here in a second or where to find them. But these are the tools that I literally use every single day. So Jasper is our primary content marketing or content writing tool. It is a tool that you have to pay for. It's not free, but there's a lot of benefits to Jasper. By the way, we just became a Jasper Solutions partner Literally last week, they're just rolling out a partner program, and we wanted to be one of their partners because we think they do some pretty cool stuff around collaboration. We believe that, interacting with AI should not be one person with a tool, but, in our world, in the clients that we work with, there's multiple people that are contributors. And so Jasper's got a great way to accomplish that. Your data is also secure in Jasper. So those are kind of the two biggies of why we use Jasper for our content production. ChatGPT Plus, I use that every day. It's great for brainstorming ideas. It's great for helping me come up with new social media posts or repurpose some of my content that way. So I really love that. Obviously, it's fantastic for image-related engagement. I'm going to show you some use cases when we get to the presentation here in a little bit. But that's how I'm using ChatGPT Plus. I don't know how many of you guys use Claude, but I love Claude for data analysis. So I think it's the best data analysis tool out there. I don't like it that much on the content side, but man, if I want to give it a lot of information like transcripts or data dumps out of a campaign management tool and then ask it for insights back, it's, in my opinion, the best tool that does that. And it's free. You are limited on how much you can use it on the free side, but I have the paid version. And then I use Fathom for call recording and summarization and transcripts. And so I invite Fathom. It's a free tool to every single meeting. It's really been a game changer for me. And I'll show you an example of how I use it once we get to the use cases. Next is Descript. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that tool, but it's a great tool that you can upload videos and get transcripts and even edit your videos like you're editing a document, which is incredible because, I'll say things like 100 times. And if I want to get the ums out of a video, you can literally go into Descript, the transcript, it'll automatically transcribe the video. And then you can, with like 2 clicks, remove all the ums and it'll automatically delete all of that from your video content too. So it's just a great, easy way if you're non-technical like me, very non-technical, to update to keep your videos looking cool. Next is Grammarly. I'm sure everybody's got Grammarly. It's a life changer for me. I can't spell to save my life. So I use it all the time. And then seasoning documents. I'm going to show you where to get those, but I do use seasoning documents every single day. It's not really a tool. It's a template. I'm going to show you where you can get one for free on our one of our resources, and then prompts. So those are the things I use every single day in doing AI marketing for Vende Digital. Okay, I'm kind of fire hosing you guys because I have so much information I want to share with you. Andrea, will you do me a favor and just stop me at 11:50, okay, Central Time? Sure. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to get questions answered as we go through today. If I cover anything too fast or you want me to dig on it a little bit more, just chat in your questions and then I'll make sure that I stop no matter where I'm at about 11:50 and we'll get those 12:50. I'm sorry. We'll get those questions answered for you. Okay. So moving down the agenda, there are lots of great resources that we've made available to you. One that I wanted to make sure that I highlighted, and I'm going to share my screen now, is this AI toolkit, because we've got a lot of cool things we're going to share with you, but this is the one that I'm really excited about. So here is our AI toolkit, and you can get to this in the resource section of the agenda. This is a Notion guide. And the reason I wanted you guys to see this is it really is a collaborative experience, for lack of a better term. I'm out there learning about AI all the time. We as an agency are trying new things in AI all the time. But we're also getting great feedback from the community, people that are trying things on their own, new tools that they're checking out that they like, and they're letting us know about those things. And then we vet them and then we put them in this toolkit. So this is a living, breathing document that gets updated all the time. And I just wanted to give you guys a quick lay of the land here. So it's a Notion guide, as I mentioned. When you click on it, you're going to go here. And I'll just kind of give you the quick highlights. So one of my favorite sections is this prompt and examples section. And this is hit over here on the right. And you can see that we've got a prompt engineering guide that'll walk you through a RACE framework. RACE is an acronym on how to set up your prompts the right way to get the best output possible. So be sure to check that out. But then we've got all of these vetted and proven prompts, from how to do ideation, how to do content marketing, email marketing, improving your website, social media, seasoning documents, sales enablement. So there's all kinds of great prompts. And if you click on one of these, it'll literally walk you through just a step-by-step how to accomplish the task or the work at hand that's described there. And so what happens is we find something cool and we try it out, and then we document it and we make it one of these prompts. Or maybe you guys find something cool and you want to share it with the community. You can either email me directly or say something in the Demand Gen Jammers community. We'll check it out, and then we'll add your prompt to this as well. Like I said, man, none of us are experts. We're trying to stay on top of this together, and this is a great tool for us, a great way for us to just share our knowledge together. So as you find cool things, I would love for you to share your prompts and examples with us too. So that's the prompts and examples section. Next is AI tools. And so my goodness, man, is there not a tsunami of tools that are showing up every single day? It's like I open up my email or I jump on LinkedIn and it's like 10 new tools since yesterday. And so it's hard to stay up to date on those tools. But what we're trying to do is maintain a library of tools for you. And so when we find new tools, and certainly we have not vetted every single tool, we go check them out. And if we think there's something that's worth you knowing about, we're going to put it here, and we're going to put the name of the tool. What kind of tool is it? Is it an advertising tool? Is it a LLM? Is it an image creation tool? Whatever. A brief description, a link to the website, and then how much it costs. And so again, if you guys find really cool tools that you'd like to share with the community, shoot me a note and we'll vet them, and then we'll put them in this library for you as well. The next section is integration. Sorry, easy for me to say, but cool things. ChatGPT is pretty neat, but once you start adding in some of the plugins and integrations, it gets super powerful. And so we're trying to document all those integrations for you that are helpful to us. We also have a reference library, so you can see there's lots of good things down here, videos and things that we found that are useful. One of the questions that we got a lot in interviewing or having the follow-up planning sessions from the webinar, and I touched on this a little bit already, was just on use policies. And so we actually have 2 policies for you here that you can literally just download. So one of them is the employee use policy. So if you're wanting something to go hand around to your employees that create guardrails on how they can and can't use AI, you can literally just go here and copy and paste this and turn it into your own. We'd love for you to do that. The other one is for your website. So this is something that you might put on your website just to communicate to your customers how you're using AI. And we're big fans of being transparent about that. And so, we've got a use policy on our website. You can check it out. And I would encourage you just to take a copy of this one if you want, and make it your own, put it on your website. And then finally, if you haven't created seasoning documents, like I said, I use seasoning documents every single day. You can go grab our seasoning document template. It's right here. You literally just click on this and it'll take you to a Google Doc. You'll have to make a copy of it, but then you can turn that into your own seasoning document. And then here's some just great style guides down here that I think will help you. If you've never done a style guide before, or you're needing help in what should you put in a seasoning document to help train AI to give you good outputs, you can go check out these style guides from MailChimp and BuzzFeed. There's some good references there for you. So anyways, it's such a cool tool. I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of it. And I'll touch on a couple of other resources that we've made available for you in just a second. So let me go ahead. I think the next thing for me to do is to actually jump into the presentation. One of the things that we talked about at the webinar is that we really feel like there's 4 steps to this process. One was attend the webinar. If you haven't, you've got links now to the replay. The tools I just talked a little bit about, I'll talk a little bit more about those. There is the planning session. If you didn't schedule a planning session with me and you want to, feel free to schedule one. I've got a link to my calendar in the resource section. I did notice that there's a few people even today that have had planning sessions with me. They can attest. These are not sales pitches. So if you're not wanting to have a planning session with me because you think I'm going to try to sell you something, that's not at all the case. It's literally just to help you get your head around AI enablement and how you might use it in your business. And so for those of you that have attended or had a planning session with me, if you want to just chat and validate that I'm telling the truth, feel free to do that, because I really do just want to help as many people as we can. And then today is really part 4. So you guys are attending the jam session where we're going to go into the use cases. The other resources that are available at the end of the agenda are this playbook, which is just chock full of step-by-step, how do you go from where you are today, which is just learning about AI and starting to play with it, to fully vetting your organization to make sure that you're ready for AI. So there's a readiness checklist, all the way through steps to get you fully deployed and running pilots within your organization to get the most out of AI. So if you haven't checked out this resource, be sure to grab it. It's in the agenda. Just walked you through the toolkit. And then I talked about the prompt engineering guide. Again, this will help you a lot. If you're struggling getting good outputs, go check out the guide. It'll teach you how to get better outputs. Okay, for a little humor, I can't remember who shared this with me, and so if you're here today and you remember posting this on LinkedIn or sending this to me as a direct message, feel free to take credit for it. I can't remember, but I thought it was a little funny because this has definitely been kind of my experience with AI a little bit, right? So over here on the left, it's like, hey, AI turns this single bullet into a long email that I can pretend that I wrote. And then on the right side, it's like, hey, AI does this great job and makes a single bullet out of this long information I just received, which is kind of what we're experiencing in the world of AI, aren't we? As we're thinking about AI, there's a couple of schools of thought here, because some people are telling me, AI is overrated, or I don't really fully understand if it's going to make it. Maybe this is just another shiny trinket. And I wanted to just point you to Amara's law here, which is a really interesting law where he says that new innovative technology, especially disruptors like AI, they're overrated at first, or overestimated. Rather, people get really excited, but then they tend to underestimate them in the long haul. And so the what message here, or the warning here, or the opportunity, depending on how you want to look at it, is really that we need to, yes, get excited about AI and begin to think about how to leverage it in our business, but we really need to be taking a long-term approach to this versus just kind of a short-term shiny trinket approach. And then I love sharing this one. This is Paul Krugman, who literally has won a Nobel Prize, and he's an economist. But back in 1998, he made this wonderful prediction that by 2005, it would become clear that the internet's impact on our economy would be no greater than a fax machine. And so I think you can think about kind of the internet and where we are today. It's certainly been way more than a fax machine. And so for those of you that may be thinking this is a shiny trinket, don't fall into the Paul Krugman camp, because it will absolutely revolutionize the way that we go to market, and literally, I think, touch every part of our business before it's all said and done. When you're thinking about where do I get started and how do I start implementing AI, I just wanted to share with you our demand gen framework. The key point that I'm trying to make is, and I touched on this a little bit already, is pick a tool, whatever tool that you want to pick, and then just start inviting it to your go-to-market. Think about ways that you can do better planning, or think about ways that you can do better messaging. Think about ways that you can get your message in front of the right audience. Think about ways that you can improve your website messaging or the conversion rate optimization on your website. Think about ways that you can ultimately stay top of mind in that last pillar as people visit your website or engage with you in social media, and now they're not on your site anymore. What are ways that you can leverage AI to stay top of mind? And so, the reason I like to share this slide is it's super easy to get overwhelmed with AI. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much I could do. It's really nice to kind of take a step back and just go, what are the fundamental things that I have to do day in and day out? And we believe it's these 4 pillars. And if I can figure out how to get AI going in some of these 4 pillars, then I can get some quick wins. I think that's what we all want. and then go from there. And so as you're thinking about where to go, maybe think about these 4 pillars and how can you invite AI to help you in some of those areas. Another pro tip I just want to share with you, and I did when I told you about what was in my toolkit, I did mention that I use multiple AI tools. And one thing that I found that's super effective is to pit them against one another. And so I'm going to show you, even as I go through the use cases today, how I do that. But, especially leveraging these tools to work against one another, you'll start to understand which one is strong in some areas and what they're strong or not, or where they're weak in other areas. And that will help you. But then even helping on the refinement of content, sometimes I'll take copy from Jasper and I'll drop it into a Claude or a ChatGPT just to get another perspective. And so definitely do that. Okay, so I've got 20 minutes here, 19 minutes. I've got 9 use cases. So I'm not sure that I'll get through all 9, but I'm going to try to walk you through some things that I think are helpful. And by the way, guys, I couldn't figure out the best way to share a use case with you. I did screenshots because I feel like, if we tried to do this real time, it might take way too much time. So I just did screenshots. If this is helpful to you, great. If you can think of even a better way for me to show use cases in the future, I'd love to hear your perspective on that. So this first one we're going to look at is how do you use voice of the customer and turn that into campaigns for your business? And there's lots of ways to do that. I'm just going to walk you through one use case that we used recently, and it's gonna tie right to this whole process that we're going through right now. So one of the things that I did is I've had all of these follow-up meetings with folks about AI enablement. And many of you guys gave me permission to actually use that information in my marketing. Some of you guys didn't, and I respected that. And then what I did is I took the transcripts of that information and I asked I asked Claude, I put all this information in Claude, and I asked Claude to help me understand what are some commonalities that people are telling me as we're talking about AI in their marketing. And so where I got the transcripts was from Fathom. So Fathom is my AI tool for recording conversations. And then the next thing that happened is I got some really interesting output. So I got a consolidated list of key pains and challenges. So this is what people were telling me were the stuff that's keeping them awake at night in a nice condensed way. As you can imagine, these meetings were like 45 minutes long, and there's lots and lots of words exchanged back and forth. So it was really helpful for me to get to the bottom of that. It also gave me some common needs. What are some things that these people are looking for where they need help in making AI work for their business? And so once I got that information, and I'm kind of showing you the condensed version here, I then took all of that. Well, the next thing that I did is I went to Claude after I got that feedback from Claude, and I basically said, hey, now you're a marketing consultant. So one of the things that's really important to understand when you're working with an AI is you can change the role, but you always want to give it a role. And so earlier, and I kind of blew through that pretty fast, I told it that it was a voice of the customer expert. Now I'm telling it that it's a marketing consultant. And I'm asking it to put together basically a marketing campaign based on all the information that it just learned in crunching through those transcripts. And so this is the output that I received, which was really useful information on how would Claude basically go to market to these people with some kind of an AI marketing message. The next thing that I did is I went over to Jasper, because that's where we build our campaigns. That's where we do most of our content marketing at Vende Digital. And they've got a really awesome feature inside of Jasper called campaigns. So you can set up a campaign in Jasper and build multiple content assets all at once. And so what drives a campaign in Jasper is a brief. So you have to put a brief in when you're setting up a campaign and then tell it what you want it to do. And so I literally copied and pasted the information that I got from Claude into Jasper as a brief. I made a couple of tweaks, and then I picked all the different things that I wanted Jasper to create for me. So like blog ideas, blog posts, case study, FAQs, you can see all the things that are checked there on my screen. And then I click go. And the reason why I like to do this in Jasper is, A, it can do multiple things at once. B, it allows, one thing you can do with Jasper that you can't do with the other AIs is season it, season the tool so that it remembers your company, your personas, all these different things that are important. And so, I took that raw material out of Claude, I put it into Jasper as a brief, but now I'm training Jasper. I'm saying, hey, use our seasoning documents and use a voice, our website voice, when you're creating the content that I'm asking you to create. And so literally I click go and I actually timed it in 40. It's really weird. 42.42 seconds. It produced an entire first draft of these different types of content assets that I would need. And so really cool, because when I went in there, I clicked, for example, blog ideas was one of the things that I selected. And you can see it gave me several great blog ideas. So, think about this. I started with transcripts from talking with customers and folks about AI and marketing. I loaded that stuff into Claude. I got Claude to tell me kind of the key things. I got Claude to tell me the key things, the voice of the customer items. Then I asked Claude to basically write a brief for me. I put that brief into Jasper, and now I'm getting things like blog ideas out. And these are awesome blog ideas. Look at the first one there. Maximize efficiency, how AI can empower your B2B marketing team. The second one, boost your SEO, a step-by-step guide for optimizing content with AI. And so literally in 42 seconds, plus, 20 or 30 minutes of working with Claude, I didn't time that part. I'm getting really useful information that's going to help me in my marketing. One of the things I selected was FAQs, and I wanted you guys to see this because I love FAQs. FAQs are amazing for marketing. We can do so many good things with FAQs, and I wanted to show you kind of a quick little hack that I do a lot. So, FAQs, you can see there on that right, those bullets are lots of ways we can use them. We can use them as FAQs. We can use them in SEO for Q&A snippets. We can turn them into social content. One thing I like to do when I'm working in Jasper is once I get the FAQ, like you can see right there, one of the questions that it came up with was, how has AI transformed B2B marketing practices in 2023? What's highlighted there in blue is the answer that it originally came up with, but with Jasper, you can interact with it. So I went in and I basically took that answer, I highlighted it, and then I told Jasper to give me a listicle answer to their answer. So they gave me their text-based answer. You can see that in the purple, but then I said, hey, turn that into a listicle. And you can see it quickly gave me a very nice, clean listicle, and I can now use that in social content. And so I'm just trying to help you guys see all the ways that we can continue to amplify our content by leveraging tools like this. And so, when you literally can one-click a button and get more content in today's world, that's something that we really need to be able to do, because content, one thing that AI has done is it's created the ability to create a lot of content. And so those of us that are going to be smart marketers need to figure out a way to outpace our competition, which is doing, in my opinion, a lot of generic content. These are the ways that you can produce content, in my opinion, again, that are going to be different and really going to point to your persona and point to, your company and the messaging and premise that you guys are all about. Okay, let me move on to persona-driven ad ideas. And so what you need to do here is, again, we want to start with good seasoning and understand the voice of the customer. And so I used both ChatGPT and Claude for this example. And again, I started by telling it was a voice of the customer expert. I told it that it was basically really good at interviewing CMOs. I gave it a little bit of seasoning information, and then I asked it to basically do three things. One, outline the buying process for me of my persona. Number two, give me the 10 most common complaints or concerns that they had. By the way, I used G2 data for this. So it was basically testimonial type content or review type content. And then number three, what are the 10 most common positive comments in working with B2B digital agencies? And you can see the reason why I wanted to present this to you like this is you get a lot of different feedback from the different AI tools. So, some of the ones over on the left from ChatGPT are pretty good, misalignment of expectations. These are the common complaints, if you will. So, ChatGPT said the number one thing was misalignment of expectations, which in a way is kind of what Claude is saying, lack of communication and transparency. Then you've got number two over here on Claude, hidden fees or unexpected costs. So all of a sudden, by just giving it a lot of information, I'm now really beginning to understand what prevents people or might be resistant roadblocks from them wanting to do business with an agency like ours. The next thing here that we're looking at are the positive comments. So as it was analyzing all this information, what were the positive things that were coming out of it? Again, you can see ChatGPT on one side, Claude on the other. So things like expertise and knowledge, flexibility, fresh perspective. Over here on the Claude side, increased qualified leads, proactive communication, industry-specific expertise. So now I'm really getting some great intel on what prospective customers might care about in working with an agency. A little sidebar here too is, we don't have, in our world, it was actually, I said G2, but it was clutch reviews. In our world, we don't have a ton of clutch reviews. I think we have 8 or 9. And so I took our reviews, but I also went to our competitors and grabbed their reviews too. So I wanted to have enough data to train the AI tool, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's all public information. So what I was trying to get to were the things that I needed to be communicating to my persona. And so it was okay, in my opinion, to get additional intelligence by going and grabbing some of our competitors' reviews as well. So once I had that information and I thought that was really great feedback, I then asked it to actually just write some ads for me. And this is another pro tip that I'll just share with you. When the prompts that we've got in the AI toolkit are very, very specific, and they're going to walk you just like a recipe in making, turkey stuffing or something like that. I got Thanksgiving on the brain, but those are step-by-step recipes. But one thing I like to do when I start trying something new with AI is I ask it really broad things because it helps me understand how it's thinking in a broad perspective. So I wouldn't normally do something like I'm showing you right now as a prompt that would be into the toolkit, because literally I just asked it to tell me based on, this review data, what are the things that they care about? What are the things that they don't like? And then the next thing I asked it was write some ads for me. But I was really surprised, guys, about the input that I got. I got some pretty decent feedback back. Now, when I read it, I thought they were a little too bottom of the funnel. And we're not, big bottom of the funnel folks when it comes to our own marketing. And so I went to it and I said, hey, those are great, but you can see my prompt there at the top, but can you create some ads that would be more middle of the funnel? Think about ways we can agitate the pain and challenge their norms. And that was me talking back to Claude after I got the feedback in that initial round. And I got much better output that go around, things that we could literally put to use here at Vende Digital in our marketing. So that's just an example of how you can literally take data like review data and turn it into an ad campaign. All right, so the next one I'm going to look at is how do you repurpose long form content into persona-centric content? And a couple of things just to touch on here, and I'm looking at the time, so I'm going to move a little bit faster, is it's really important when you think about your content and content marketing that we have a strategy where we're building our content around content pillars. We're building foundational content, making sure we have good topical coverage around those content pillars. And then we cut that content up into various formats so that we can share that content out with our audience where they're going to learn. That's really key. It's one of the key functions of what we help customers do is atomize that content, think about their content pillars, get that foundational content created, and then atomize. That's all really important. And I wanted to kind of set the groundwork here. But the thing that AI can really help us with is getting that content very persona-centric. And so I wanted to walk you through how to do that. And the steps that we got to start with some seasoning documents. We need to understand what our top content is. If we're going to repurpose it for our personas, let's make sure we're repurposing our best content. And then we want to use some prompts and you can grab this stuff right out of the toolkit. So this one I'm going to walk you through is literally one you can grab in the toolkit called repurposing blog content into personalized content. So the first thing that I did is I went to GA4. So we need to find our top content. GA4 is a good place to do that. And just basically say, hey, what's our most popular content? And so you can see this one popped up to the top, which is a article that we wrote on building a B2B social media marketing strategy. And so we took that content and then we added our persona. So we did this in ChatGPT. So imagine taking the copy and paste of that article into ChatGPT along with a persona as part of our seasoning. And then we basically said, hey, give us 10 topic ideas relative to this article and our persona that you think would really win with them or work with them. And you can see we got 10 really good ideas. So here's a generic topic on B2B social media marketing strategy. And the persona that we fed it was a SaaS persona. And now we're getting things like boosting SaaS lead generation, elevating your B2B social media game, SaaS specific social media strategies from overwhelm to overdrive, really good ideas. So I always like to ask for 5 or 10 things because not all of them are good, right? Some of them are going to be bad. Sometimes you want to combine a couple. And so once I had one that I liked, I then literally fed it this prompt up here at the top that basically said, great, let's use this particular topic. I want you to write a blog using instructional format, keep the new article around the same length, and leverage similar formatting. For example, and then I gave it very specific directions. Give me a headline, subheads, a featured Q&A snippet, key takeaways, and a call to action paragraph at the end. Also, make sure you address the persona's concern as it relates to the topic of this article, and then provide answers and tips to address their concerns. And then boom, 2 or 3 minutes later, probably not even that long, we get this really decent article. Now, I would tell you this is more like an outline. I would never copy and paste this and put it up on our website, but we've begun to have a very personalized piece of content from a foundational content item on our website that's going to speak to our SaaS persona. And so that's a really powerful tool that you can use with AI. For the lack of time, these are the things that you might think about personalizing your content around. So taking that generic content, tying it to a persona, tying it to a specific pain point, or tying it to a particular buying stage. I have different needs at the awareness stage than I do at the problem identification stage or the solution stage. And so you can take foundational content and really repurpose it based on what does my persona care about when they're actually evaluating me against my top competitors. You can also do it from an industry perspective. So there's a lot of ways you can take the really great content on your website and repurpose it to meet the needs of your buyer. In fact, before you try to spin up a ton of net new content, generic content, my recommendation to you would be go look at your winners, the content that's already on your website that you're killing it with today, and just figure out ways to leverage AI to make it super hyper personalized. I think you'll have a lot of success in 2024 that way. How am I doing on time, Andrea?
You have 1 minute.
Okay. All of these are available to you in the handouts, but I am going to try to walk you through this last one really fast. This is using AI to optimize ads. And one thing that I feel like AI is just starting to, like, marketers are starting to figure out is leveraging AI to crunch data. And it's really great at that. I think Claude is probably the best at it. And I just wanted to show you a quick use case that we put together. I actually did this earlier this week just for today's webinar. So what I did is we run event ads to promote these demand gen jam sessions and our webinars that we do. And so I took a dump of all of our event data, event campaign data out of LinkedIn, made sure, and Andrea, I should have called you because I had to do this like 3 times, but make sure I downloaded the right report that actually has the copy of the ads in the report. Because I did it the first time and there was no copy and it couldn't tell me anything useful. So it was just like engagement data or something. So finally, make sure you get the ad copy when you download the content or download the report. And then the next thing that I did is I went to it and I told it, hey, you're a LinkedIn advertising expert. You're also a marketing analyst. create a table that includes the top 10 performing ads and 10 worst performing ads, include the ad copy, the character length of the copy, total conversions, cost per conversion, include a short description of why you believe this was a top or worst performing ad. And you can see right here, it gave me the top performing ads. And what's really cool is it gave me rationale for every single ad, why it thought it was a top performing ad, in lieu of a whole year's worth of advertising data, which was great. And then also, it went and showed me the top or the bottom performing ads. And one thing that jumped out to me immediately is notice that all of our bottom performing ads, character links were longer for sure, but every one of them had an emoji in it. And so I would have not guessed that out of the gate. But it took AI to kind of crunch the data and present it to me this way for me to really kind of see, oh my gosh, putting emojis in our ads really is hurting us, not helping us. Then I asked it for recommendations. I said, can you summarize what you've learned from this report to help us write better event ads in the future? Consider ad copy, offer, subject matter, audience, formatting, copy links, emojis, whatever. And so it gave me a lot of useful information. Some of it was pretty obvious, but some of it was interesting. And I had such a good time with this. Literally, I think this was Monday, that at the end of the session, I didn't want to stop there. So I literally went to it and I said, this has been really fun. Let's create a LinkedIn post that just with instructional design that I can share in LinkedIn on how we did this task. And so it went in and it created this LinkedIn post over here on the right, which was way too long. I would never put something like that out on LinkedIn. So I copied and pasted that. And I went over to my friends at Jasper and I pasted it in. I used my voice, which is a great thing about Jasper. And I fed it some knowledge from our knowledge base. And I basically said, hey, you're an expert at writing LinkedIn content. Can you help me improve this LinkedIn post and make it more skimmable? And voila, it spit out a really awesome LinkedIn post for me. And it even created an image for me. And so I just wanted to share with you ways that you can maximize your what you're doing and the work that you're doing with AI. So I went into it thinking I was going to get it to analyze ads for me, but then I came out of it with that information plus a really cool LinkedIn post I was able to share with my community. The last thing that I did was I screenshotted our best performing ads and I screenshotted our worst performing ads. And I fed those to ChatGPT because a great thing you can do with ChatGPT is upload screenshots of things. One thing that just jumped out at me right away is look how similar all of our ads look. I was talking to Andrea about this right before the call today. One of the things we definitely need to do differently is have different creative, because there's just, can you see the blindness that's going to happen with all of our ads like this? But I went ahead and added it to ChatGPT and I just said, hey, tell me what you see. And what would you recommend that we can do to make these better? And I got some pretty good feedback out of ChatGPT too. So again, the thing I wanted to share here is how I'm using multiple tools to really leverage their strengths to accomplish a business objective. And then sometimes it even inspires me to do other things like create social media content and things like that. So it's really a lot of fun in all the things that you can do out there with ChatGPT. A lot of it's just playing and experimenting. That's why that toolkit, in my opinion, is so helpful, because we're going to learn together. We're going to share insights together. And it's just going to make us better. I think there's 4 or 5 other ones here that you'll be able to check out. I was really hoping I was going to get to this one today, but be sure to check it out. So this will help you take winning social media content and basically repurpose it into different styles. This is really helpful to me because, you know, I post something on LinkedIn every single day of the week, and I've got some content out there that's performed really, really well. And I just don't want to share the same post again. So I'm using this prompt that's in the toolkit as a way of repurposing that same concept into different styles. And so be sure to check that out. And again, there's instructions in the toolkit as well. So Andrea, I went 5 minutes over. I'm sorry, but let's tee up like 2 or 3 questions before we have to wrap today.
Sure. I'll start off with the first one. There's been some questions about what are some use cases for video content in AI?
So the question was on video and how to use video with AI. There's 2 things. One, one of the easiest things you can do is cut your video content down and turn long form content like this into video snippets that you can share on social platforms or other channels. We've been playing with tools that are actually intelligent enough to where they could take this entire video and consume the content and make recommendations on where to create vignettes, like little, short snackable video versions. So that's one thing that you can do with it. Another thing that you can do with AI, which we have not done yet, but I've seen examples of this, is, you can take your text-based content and pretty easily turn that into video content with an avatar. Maybe, I've even seen people where they've turned themselves into an avatar. Andrea, did I show you that one where I took like my LinkedIn profile picture and turned it into an avatar?
Yes.
And then gave it a script? It was really creepy and scary, but I will tell you that there are, if you give it more inputs, it can actually create an avatar that looks a lot like one of your subject matter experts, or you can create your own virtual avatar and take some of your text-based content and turn it into video content. Those are, to me, the two biggest low-hanging fruit ones. Certainly optimizing the content for YouTube would be another easy thing you can do with video. We got time for one more, Andrea.
Cool. One of the questions we had was, have we had any sales team feedback on the AI generated battle cards?
We haven't had any sales team feedback on AI generated battle cards, but I do think that AI generated battle cards is a really good thing that you can do. And for example, one of the easiest ways to start building those things, and I have an example here. Just go check it out. It's about toward the end of the presentation. I walk you through a way to use AI to do call prepping, and some of those same prompts might help you build battle cards. But at the end of the day, if you think about what a sales rep is trying to accomplish, they're trying to sound really smart. They're trying to ask the right questions and to communicate key concepts. And the more we can empower them to do those things, the better. And I think some of the best things we can do to help them is some of this voice of the customer examples that I showed you today, where you go in and actually analyze a large body of work of your customers actually saying things to help them get ready for calls. In fact, that use case literally is a call prep example of how to take a client or prospect and come up with really good questions to ask them using AI, and specifically for that customer. So great question. All right, we're at 12:58 Central Time. I really feel like I fire hosed you guys today. I hope this was valuable. We'll make the replay available. My encouragement to everyone is join the LinkedIn group. Let's stay connected there. And if you want to have a planning session with me, if you look on the agenda, there's a link to that at the bottom of the agenda, along with links to all the resources that I talked about today. So you can go ahead and do that. If you don't have time for that, then obviously let's stay connected in the LinkedIn community. And hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully we'll see you next month for 2024 go-to-market planning and trends that we think are going to happen. And hopefully I won't miss a big one like AI like I did last year. So we'll see you guys next month. Y'all have a great day.